If you're waiting to feel motivated while snoozing alarms and doom scrolling, this show is for you. Today, we'll talk about faith, mindset, mornings, and a 10-step blueprint to get you on the path to becoming the man, father, and husband you were created to be. Welcome back, or welcome to Raising Rebels. Today, we've got a special guest, a father, a Christ follower, a husband, content creator, a coach, Todt. Welcome to the podcast, Tyler.
Brother Joel, it's an honor to be here, man. I'm so fired up for what you're doing. I love the community you're building. And brother, I wouldn't hop on a plane at 3:30 in the morning, fly in and be here for most people, but I'm so fired up to be here, and truly an honor, man, to get to share with you and your audience.
Well, you've been such an influence on X is primarily where we connected. Mm-hmm. And the content that you put out there just connected so well with the mission that Raising Rebels is on, that I was like, man, I got to connect with this guy. And we connected actually a while ago through some messaging on X, and timelines just didn't work out. You were super busy. I got super busy. And I'm just blessed and honored that you took the time out of your schedule, took the time away from your family to come out here and pour into the men listening.
And I think it's the most important thing today, right? It's there's no blueprint for men. I think a lot of men are lost, aimless. Society kind of tells them one thing. And we really need to hammer home this message that, look, Christ is leading me so that I can adequately lead my family and pour into them. And I just think the message that you have is so vital, man. So yeah, again, I told you before I came out, I get asked to be on 2 or 3 podcasts a week. Time constraints. I have 3 young kids, as you can see on my shirt.
It's the best. That's one of the best shirts ever.
And, I'm writing a book and leading men's groups and doing a lot. And so I do turn down probably 95% of them at this season of life. And for you, brother, I'm like, let's hop on the plane. Let's come down and hang out for a day, and let's shoot some great content and help some awesome men. So honored again to be here, man.
Yeah, we're gonna pack this full of value and for our listeners. And before we continue, is there anything else that I missed about who you are, what you do, anything else?
Yeah, so, I'm an author, speaker, coach. Been on X for 5.5 years. This just started with in devotions one morning. Okay. I was managing a bank, and I just felt this tug, something saying, share your life, share your story. For a while, I grew up in the church, and I was kind of lukewarm. And then I went all in for Jesus, 34, 35 years old. And ever since then, the Lord's just kind of taken me to places I couldn't imagine, but I just felt this calling to share. I didn't know what that meant, and so I started praying over it, and I prayed that God would allow me to speak and impact 1 or 2 people. That was my prayer when I first started. And now the platform the Lord's given me is just absolutely amazing and incredible, and I'm super blessed and thankful for that every day.
It's amazing how much or how often God over-delivers on our expectations. And we go through seasons, right, where it's like, man, are you even listening? And then all of a sudden out of nowhere, it's like, boom. And it's like, yeah, okay, he was listening. So we're going to get into how can we as men, husbands, and fathers be the best version of ourselves. Before we get into how we do that, I'd like you to start by defining what that is to you. What does that mean to be the best version of yourself?
Yeah, I think number one, as a man and a leader of your family, again, I go back to that principle of I don't look at my phone first in the morning. I don't let the world have a voice in the morning. I let the Lord speak to me first. And so I've got a simple routine for winning the morning that, hey, my alarm goes off. To be honest, I don't even need an alarm anymore. I get up about 5 every day. Just been doing this for years now. But the first thing I'm going to do is open the Bible. I'm going to journal. I'm going to pray. I'm going to let the Lord have that first voice into me. So that then I can go adequately lead my family. And I think a lot of guys, and I was one of them, so no judgment out there if you're watching this, but for the first several years of my life and when I was a dad, my alarm clock was my kids. They'd come in and wake me up, and I'm snoozing and I'm tired, and I'm no. Now it's by the time my family's woken up, my goal is that I've sharpened myself spiritually. So I've read the Bible, I've prayed, I've done all those things. I've sharpened myself mentally. So I've journaled, I've gratitude, practiced gratitude, some of those things, and I'm sharpening myself physically. So I've hit the gym, I've hit a walk, something like that, so that by the time my family wakes up at 6:45 or whatever it is, roll. I can now be the leader. I don't feel that stress and that anxiety like I'm getting pulled 1,000 different directions. I've already sharpened myself. Now I can be the best version for them.
Yeah, and we'll get into that a little bit more on the physical, spiritual side of things, but I think the mornings are important. Because I know I have found that when I go through seasons of like, okay, I'll I'll work out later on today. I'll hit the snooze button for a little bit longer. I never really get that workout in because life comes at you. And being a father, being a husband, being an employee, like working, being an employee at a job, it demands a lot of your time. And then I also found even when I did get my workout in after work, it wasn't the same. Stresses have drained you, different situations have drained you, and it's just you don't get the same benefits from it as you would if you just got up in the morning.
I 100%. I can't tell you the amount of times when I was managing a bank, I'd say, I'll get it after work.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe 10% of the time I did, and even that 10% wasn't great. And look, anybody who's a dad out there can probably realize this, that my tiny humans, my kids aren't waking up every day thinking, how can I pour into daddy? How can I make his day better, right?
Yeah.
My boss sure isn't thinking that. The world, chores, bills, it's endless things. And so as a man, you've got to create the time. Well, the best way to do that, I think, is win the morning, win the day. That's a mantra for everybody I'm around, everybody I hang out. Hey, win the morning, win the day. Win the morning, win the day. Yeah. And you build those momentums, and I just call them stacking wins early on where, man, you're winning, and that carries throughout the rest of the day. So any guy in there, man, you should never let your wife wake up before you. I just think that's wrong. Like, I want to set the tone for my house. Like, my wife gets up at 6:30, 6:40. I'm up at 5. I would feel ashamed if my wife woke up and saw me snoozing over there. So I think if you're a guy, this is the easiest thing to fix. And I'll hear some guys, well, I like to stay up late. I like to do this or that. That's something, just set the alarm for 5 and get up. You do that 4 or 5 days in a row, you'll go to bed at 9, 9:30, 10 o'clock. You can't stay up till midnight anymore. Yeah. So this is the easiest thing to fix. And I think one of the most important for guys.
I also find too that when I talk to dads, a lot of them feel when they get home from work, it's just hard to bring the energy. That's one of the things that when I coach, different sports, I always talk to my players about bringing the juice, right? Bringing the energy. And that's what we have to bring to our homes when we come after. And even when we don't feel like it, we got to bring it. Right. And so as much as you can, try to get that done. Because I've also found that when you work out in the morning, you do have more energy at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
You're not as drained as you were because you've gotten that in. Your body's sharpened physically. Your mind's ready to go. And you'll be surprised on how much energy you have at the end of the day.
100%, man. 2 points on this is I started viewing what I ate throughout the day as how good of a dad I was going to be. When I worked corporate, the first 2 years, I gained 19 pounds and I didn't work out. So this wasn't muscle, right? Right. And man, I'm eating pizza buffets. I'm just eating what everybody else. I'm getting Starbucks Frappuccinos in the morning and donuts when people bring them in. And I'm eating like crap. And I notice then I get home and I don't have energy. I want to plop on the couch. I want to turn a game on. That's it. And so people have made fun of me for this. 6.5 years, I've eaten the same exact lunch every day. It's just not
That's a Nick Saban thing too.
It's awesome, dude. It's a decision fatigue,
Nick Saban, I think he same like turkey with cheese every single day. No, doesn't change from his routine for lunch. And I think he also wears the same clothes every day.
Yeah, it's one less decision to make, right? It's already done. I'm organic, lean chicken thighs with a little rice, little veggies, and that's it every day. And so I just view that as I eat for fuel. I also eat the same one of 2 breakfasts every morning, which is either fasting or eggs. Yeah. And that's it. And so, I just kind of have these little systems in place, the morning routine, the healthy breakfast, the healthy lunch, which allows me to carry over and win that night with the family.
Well, and all those things add into being the best version of yourself.
That's right.
Which is what we're talking about. Mm. And so you identify yourself as a husband and a father and a Christ follower. Mm-hmm. How do those roles shape your definition of best self?
Man, well, if we're going to start off and say the guy I follow is the only guy that walked the earth that was perfect. Yeah. It's not going to be me, not going to be you. And I think a lot of times I'll coach men and I'll be working with them and that guilt cycle will hit them, right? So they'll tell me about the one mistake they made. Man, I was really short with my son at the end of the night. And I'll say, okay, well, you're hard on yourself. You're beating yourself up for that. Let's run through your day. And I'll hear 30 good things that they did for their family that day, but they focus on that one. And so, hey, let's acknowledge it, but then let's take a pause. Let's breathe. Let's pray. Let's say, hey, God, just sharpen me in this area. And so I'm a big fan of King David, one of my favorite characters in the Bible. And I pray that prayer every day. Search me, God. Show me where I'm lacking. I've got to follow him So he pours into me, and now I'm good to serve my family, my wife, my kids. It doesn't go well in any other order, and maybe this is unpopular, but I believe my wife knows this. My most important relationship is my relationship with Christ. My kids know this. My wife is second.
I think
and they are third.
Yes, I think that's an important distinction that men need to continue to meditate on. Is that a lot of times marriages get tension or distance because the focus isn't on each other, it's on the kids.
That's right.
And they start putting the kids as number two, or even sometimes kids as number one. And I just think that's a very good point, and something that husbands and wives need to be aware of, that and me and my wife are pretty intentional with that. And we tell our kids that too. God's number one, mom's number two, and then the five of you are number three. Because when they leave to start their own lives, it's going to be me and her.
That's right.
Because they're going to go and they're going to get married. They're going to start families. And we want to make sure that we are still good with each other.
That's right. And the coolest thing to me too is all five of your kids, the model for your sons are looking at how to treat a woman someday is you. So if you're taking your wife on constant dates, you're dancing in the kitchen, you might gross them out the ages they are now, right? Yeah. You're making out in the kitchen, you're doing whatever, but they're seeing that. And they're saying, man, dad really loves mom. Dad still pursues mom. They've been married for this long and dad is still crazy about mom. Mom talks about dad in this way. She builds him up all the time. Mom loves dad. It was one of my coolest memories as a dad, to be honest. This was about 2 years ago. My daughter was 8.5 and she had a friend over and they were playing in the loft. Me and my wife do 2 date nights a week, every week, non-negotiable. It's the first thing we put on the calendar. It's our time, and we tell our kids we love each other so much that we're going to ignore you for about 6 or 8 hours a week and focus on each other. That's important. And so we overhear her friend ask her, hey, Tinley, why does your mom and dad go away a couple days a week? It's just a next door neighbor. What do they do? And Tinley's response was, well, mom and dad just love each other so much. They like to spend a lot of time together. And me and my wife looked at each other and we said, it's important that we model this, that the kids see that every day. And so I get pushback from some wives on Twitter for this. Oh man, I just love my kids more than you do. I couldn't imagine leaving them or that. And well, your kids are seeing that. And if you and your husband or your spouse, you're not locked in and you're not dating and pursuing, your kids are going to perceive that as normal.
I'll even say that doing that is loving your kids.
Agree.
Right? Being that model is loving them and loving them a lot, to set the model and the example, because things are more often caught than taught.
Yeah.
And you can say all the things in the world to them, but they're only going to remember a certain percentage of it. They're going to remember a lot more of what they see than what they hear or what they're told.
Absolutely, man. I mean, some of the memories of my dad are, why am I healthy and fit right now? My dad, when I was 10 years old, he used to train for marathons and he was always he'd run out to this hill, put me on his back, sprint up and down it, till he was darn near puking. And my dad was just like a beast,
Yeah, a little crazy too.
A little crazy. I loved it. At 70, he's still running. He's about to hit 100,000 miles run in his life. He's been logging it since he was 24.
That's insane.
And it's, my dad didn't just sit on the couch and tell me, you should be healthy. Hey, you should be healthy. You should exercise.
Yeah.
He modeled it. He lived it. And you're so right about more is caught than taught, man.
Caught than taught. Yeah.
More is caught than taught. That our kids are always watching us. Those little eyes, those little ears, they're always seeing what is dad sitting there scrolling. Is dad annoyed that they're there, or is dad down on the floor playing with them?
Well, and one of the things that I say on nearly every show that we do is that it's not about perfection. It's about being intentional and consistent.
That's right.
So you don't have to do it every day. Just need to be intentional with what you're doing and consistent. And so that's how you become the best version of yourself. And so as we talk about that, I also want to make sure that we understand that it's not about necessarily results, successes, and money, but it's also about character and purpose and impact. And you're having a great impact in your community and your reach. And I think that our kids see the impact that we have on the world.
That's right, man. And I'm proud of that too. Even to tell my kids, I sat them down and said, hey, daddy's going to be gone for 2 days. So mommy's leading you on adventures. I know they're going to a butterfly house today. They're doing all these fun things that my wife has planned for them. She's the greatest mom. But I love being able to sit them down and saying, here's what daddy's doing for work. We're going to go pour into other guys and talk to other dads. And, I want my kids to know I work hard.
Right.
We'll get to a point here where I don't necessarily need to work. We'll be financially free pretty soon. I'll still work, man. It's still important to me. And it's important that the kids see me work and the kids see the drive and the passion that I have to do what I want to do. I think that's equally as important, right? So I don't want to just be the dad that's fun and playing there. No, they need to see me full of purpose. And this is something that bugs me a lot too when I see dads who will tell stories of, oh, when I was in high school, I used to.
Yeah.
Oh, me and your mom back when we were first married, we used to. And it's like, no, man, your kids need to witness you. And this should be an awesome thing. If you're 60 pounds overweight as a dad right now, how cool. You can have your kids witness you losing the weight.
Yeah.
If you and your wife aren't necessarily dating and locked in, how cool. You could have your kids witness you and your wife have sort of this revival of your marriage and what that looks like in real time. What an opportunity if you're out there and you're not feeling super locked in to just make a couple tweaks today.
Well, and don't put off tomorrow what can be done today. Because we only have a short window with our kids. We think, like, especially when you're in the thick of it, it's like, man, one of the things I go by is the days are long, but the years fly by.
Yeah.
And it can feel like such a long period of time that your kids are going to be with you, but it's really not. I read something on either X or Instagram that came across my feed and said, by the time your child is 12, they would have spent, and I'm not going to get the numbers exactly right, but it's close, somewhere about 75% of the time with you is done.
It's crazy.
Because they're going to start getting into their social lives and their friend groups. And, the nights that you guys were at home before when they were younger, now they're going to be out hanging with friends. And then they're going to go to college or into the trades or into the military, whatever they decide to do after high school. And then they're going to find someone and fall in love, and they're going to get married, and they're going to have their kids. And then they've got this whole other timeline that they're starting with their families, but they're not with you anymore.
Yeah.
The relationship changes. And so we only have a short window of time. So don't wait. Don't wait to start. And so that's what I want to get into now. So we want to be the best version of ourselves. Let's create a little bit of a roadmap for our listeners. And how do we do that? You put a thread out a little while ago on this, and I want to kind of talk about some of these points in that thread. And the first one that you listed was create a plan. Talk to us a little bit about what you mean by that.
Yeah, so you and I and everybody listening to this, we'll have 40, 50,000 thoughts through our head today. So it's it's nice to say, yeah, tomorrow I like the idea of this or that. What changes it is when you get it on paper. Then it goes from what I like to say is a daydream to a plan. And look, it's a really funny story. I was a bank manager at JP Morgan Chase, and they told us this story in one of my leadership classes at one point where JP Morgan this would have been in the 1800s, hired the coach of coaches back then. It was like $25,000 a month to get life coached. And he was really successful after that. And a newspaper reporter asked him the question, what did he teach you? And he chuckled. And he said, I paid $25,000 to learn before I go to bed each night, write down 3 or 4 things I'm going to accomplish and then wake up and accomplish them. And he said, it does wonders. I've done this for years, And this sounds so basic and so simple, but I have an alarm that goes off on my phone every single night. And I think men could resonate with this especially. It says, plan the mission. Plan the mission. So 8:35 every night, I take 3 to 5 minutes and I plan my next day, which I view as a mission. I don't want to wake up like an accident and kind of wonder, well, what do I feel like working out? Do I feel like it? Do I not? No, that's not a question. Feelings lead children.
Yeah.
Men do what the plan is. They execute the mission. No successful CEO is showing up to their office to work saying, what do we do today? What do I feel like?
Right.
No, man, they're walking into the door. They got a mission. They know their mission statement. They know what they're selling. They know what they're doing. Your life, I always say, your life in your home, you're the CEO of. I'm the CEO of Tyler Todt. Nobody else cares what Tyler Todt does throughout the day. I gotta care. Right. And so I don't resonate with people that aren't intense about life because we're only here for so long. And so plan the mission. Get it on paper. Here's the time I'm waking up. Here's what I'm working out. Here's a few goals that I'm putting down on the paper today. And think not only goals for business, but I write goals for family. Hey, I'm going to write my daughter a little love letter today and just tell her all the things I'm proud of her about lately. Slide it under her door. That'll be on my mission for some days. You know what? Tonight when the kids get home, I'm going to plan an awesome picnic. And we're going to have like 2 hours with no phones, nothing, man. I'm going to leave my phone at home. That's part of the mission. And so every single day, if you can start to think this, man, I'm putting an alarm out, plan the mission. Wake up the next day. It's already on paper. You've already got an outline. Now just execute the mission.
And start simple.
Easy.
Right? Don't throw out 15 things.
The easier, the better. 3-4 things.
Start with 3.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and it's like, lay out your clothes, make it easy, know what you're going to work out, have a couple goals throughout the day, and boom. And you'll feel so much better when you wake up and you start stacking those wins and going.
Well, I mean, listeners right now, feel free to pause it, take that, write it down so that you start applying this as soon as possible. Don't put off to tomorrow what you can do today. Number 2 on that list was wake up early. Now, we touched on this a little bit already on the importance of waking up early. Is there anything else that we didn't really hit on as far as the morning goes? I mean, I like win the morning, win the day. I think that's a great, what would you call that? Not a
mantra.
Mantra is what I was looking for. Mantra. And really, there's a lot of benefits of win in the morning.
Yeah, I just think it builds the momentum throughout the day, and as a guy also, like, look, it might be subconsciously, your wife is going to view you a little different. Like, it's a very attractive quality in human beings. Just be disciplined. And so, I love the fact that my wife wakes up every day and I'm not there. She knows I'm coming home at 6:40 when the kids wake up, but I'm sharpening myself. She knows that. First thing she says when I walk in the door, how's the workout?
Yeah.
She knows it. It's not like did he feel like working out today? At one point, we had 3 1-year-olds. We did foster care. The odds of 1 1-year-old sleeping through the night is not great. 3 is like almost 0.
100% I can resonate with that because we had 5 3 and under with the 2 sets of twins.
That's wild, man.
So it was, that was a battle. But like you said, train hard, win the morning.
That's right.
That was number 3, training hard.
Mm-hmm.
Your body is your billboard.
Right.
Your body shows what kind of disciplines you have. And I'm not talking about running marathons or doing anything crazy, but keeping your fitness levels up also shows your discipline at the plate, at the table, and in your workouts and fitness. Talk a little bit more about the importance of strong body, strong mind.
Yeah, I think, again, most people listening to this aren't like, man, I want to be an Iron Man or I want to have an 8-pack. But dude, you want to be a high energy dad. Like, nobody here is going to be listening to this and just thinking like, man, I really want people to see me and just think like that guy's fat and lazy and kind of a slob. Like, nobody wants that. Let's just be real with each other for a minute.
Right.
Everybody likes the idea of being in shape. So what's the separator? Because it's not a knowledge issue. There's enough knowledge out there where anybody can find free workout plans. You can go on YouTube and find diets. It's an application problem. Well, what that comes down to then is just discipline. And I'd take it back to point 1. Set a mission for the day, and something's better than nothing. And this is the point I always hammer home during this. That. I tell my guys all the time, there's no zeros in our group. No zeros. Now, again, I go back to when I had 3 1-year-olds. You can probably relate to this with 3, 5 under 3. Dude, there was days where I had scheduled like heavy deadlifts. And then I got no sleep, man. We had 2 sick kids. So, okay, I'm going to be kind to myself that day. I'm not going to put up a 0, but the best maybe I can do that day is very light deadlifts and a walk and a sauna, and maybe some push-ups on my lunch break and a family walk at night and make some good food choices. Man, I can put my head on the pillow that night knowing I did my best and I didn't put up a 0.
I saw this somewhere as well where it was like, what's your floor? Create what your floor is, because if you can't get to the ceiling of your workout, what's your floor? And at least do that. Maybe it's just 5 sets of 20 push-ups, and that's all it is. That's your floor for the day. But you got it in, no days off, and you continue pushing forward. Me and my sons have started, again, preaching to myself when I talk about consistency, push-ups and Proverbs. So I try to get into their rooms in the morning. We try to hit up some push-ups, and then I'll read out of whatever day, because the book of Proverbs has 31 days in it. You can line it up with whatever day it is of the month. And so we just jump to that chapter. And again, now I'm definitely not perfect with it. It's not a daily thing. But if I can start doing it 2 days a week, there's consistency there. It's 2 days a week. It's 2 days a week. It's 2 days a week. It's not 4, 1, 5, 0. Like, it's consistent. And we can build on consistency. Consistency is important.
Yeah, consistency is the cheat code for anything, man.
Yes.
I mean, it's like nobody does 4 podcasts and they're viral. You do 400, you do 4,000. You don't go to the gym 4 times and, oh man, I've got muscles, look at them. No, man, you go 400 times, and again, that's why no zeros is so important. That's served me well in business, content, the gym, every single aspect of life. People are like, what's the cheat code? consistency.
Yeah.
Like you probably got to fail a bunch and learn and pivot and keep going. And again, I love the push-ups and Proverbs. Dude, you should brand that. That's amazing. I love that. Your sons will remember that forever. You know, I guarantee they'll be honoring you 40 years from now, talking about, oh, my dad, we used to do push-ups and Proverbs. You know, that's like an amazing thing.
Well, that's a part about building legacy with your kids.
That's right.
Or, you know, being consistent with those moments so that as they grow and they go into the different stages of life, that they can reflect back on things and that you're being intentional with how you're building them as young men and young women.
Yeah.
So we're going to skip down the list. We're not going to go through all 10. If you want all 10, you got to go to his X account and look it up. But number 7, I like, cares 0% about other people's opinions. That one stuck out to me a lot because I think in a world that is so social, right, where everybody has an opinion and the internet's given people the courage to have opinions when they would not have that same opinion to your face, is to care 0% about that. Talk a little bit about that for us.
Man, so I was a people pleaser growing up, and I always say I'm a reformed people pleaser. I'm grateful to Twitter mostly because of this, man, because I'll never forget when my first thread went viral, and it's over something crazy. I talked about how I love being a husband, and I just love my wife. I was like looking at her sleeping one night, and I was like, she's an amazing wife, and I wrote about her. And dude, I woke up the next day to like 500 guys like, you're a simp, you're a pansy, and I'm like, for loving my wife, all right, you know?
It went the same thing because you and I were talking about the Phillies incident with the home run.
That's right. Yep.
You and I were talking back and forth, and there's a lot of guys that just attacked this guy for just diffusing a problem.
Right.
And again, like I understand part of what they're saying, but at the same time, it's like you're going to take 1 minute clip of this guy's entire life,
right,
and then just blast him continually.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are we doing?
It's crazy. And that's how social media has kind of made people think. I like how you said nobody would say it to your face, you know? And so
Mike Tyson, I think, said that too.
Yes.
The internet's given a lot of people courage that they wouldn't say to your face.
That's absolutely right, man. And so I remember journaling this 4 or 5 years back when I'm like, if I'm going to continue social media and grow, not a day goes by where someone doesn't make fun of something, right? Like, bro, my wife cuts my hair. I'm cheap, you know? Like, people make fun of my haircut. They make fun of this or that and things you couldn't even think of.
She did a great job. I
would never even guess that. She's amazing,
that.
You know? Like, we save a lot of money when she cuts all the kids' hair. But like, you know, somebody's going to find something to be a critic about. And so I go back and I remember journaling this. I said, if God is proud of me and I am proud of me, and then I'll add my wife in there, I don't care about anyone else. I really don't. And so, you know, random stranger on the internet that's an anon that's going to critique something that you or I said on this podcast. At the end of the day, anybody can be a critic. It's the people in the arena that count. And so I really think if you're going to go on this self-improvement journey, and this is the thing that probably shocked me the most, when I went from having beers 3 or 4 nights a week with buddies at the bar and complaining about my wife and being 19 pounds overweight and eating really bad food. Yeah. And then I came in one day and said, I'm going to change things. And a lot of people said, oh yeah, sure. You know, we've heard that before. 6 months later, man, I've lost the weight, my relationships, and I just keep going and going and going. And I heard things like, oh, he's too good. Oh, he's boring now. Oh, you think you're better than us. Bro, I've been mailed, this is wild, 4 hate letters. 4. And like, I don't think I speak on anything controversial. Just be your best self. And I don't preach my way is the best way for anybody but me. But like, I've been mailed 4 hate letters saying you're not a real Christian. You're this, like just crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, if God's proud of me and I'm proud of me and my wife's proud of me, it's going to fall on deaf ears. And you need to know that going into I would say a growth journey.
Yeah. I said that one more time. If God
is proud of me and I am proud of me, and my wife is proud of me,
of course,
that is enough.
Yeah.
That's enough for me. And like, I challenge dads a lot and I say, look, like be the weird dad. Everybody like, dude, I flew here today and bro, I tweeted this. I'm like, people are just out of shape everywhere. Like people are scarfing down Snickers bars and full sodas at 8 a.m., you know, It's wild. And I'm like, be the dad that's different. So like I drop my kids I drop my daughter to practice. I'm the dad walking laps.
Yep.
I'm not just sitting there.
I put a weighted vest on and just do laps.
You're probably inspiring people. Yes, man. And it's like, you know, it's those little things where we can all be better. But I guarantee there's a couple dads, he thinks he's something, you know? He thinks he's good.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, the critics' opinions don't count. And you got to understand that if you're going to go to new levels, you're going to have to probably leave some people behind. Doesn't mean you don't like them. I love people. I pray for people. But I've had conversations with good buddies during this last 6 or 7 years of my growth journey where I say, hey, let me reintroduce myself.
Mm.
This isn't a Tyler, I keep growing. Now I'm inviting you to come along. Hey man, I show up to the gym every day at 5:15. You want to come? I don't go to the bars anymore, but you can come with me here.
Yeah.
You can come on hikes with me. You can come to the park with me and my kids. You're welcome. But if you don't want to come, that's okay. But I'm going this way, and you got to have your mind made up.
Well, and you don't want to be the same dad, same man, or same leader today that you are in a year from now.
Absolutely.
If you're the same, something is really wrong with how you're approaching your growth.
100%. That's the most exciting thing about life to me. I tell my wife all the time, we just had our 11th year anniversary. We've been together 12. And I'm like, dude, what's coolest to me is I'm still learning you. We're still learning how to communicate better. We're still learning how to do and like, it's going to just keep like getting better and better and better the longer that we're married. And I love that. I want to I tell her my goal is to look back and her to say, holy cow, I didn't think you could get any better as a husband, but you've learned from that. You've gotten better at that. You're better at that. Just chipping up. Same way a business would just trend up every quarter. I look at marriage. I look at fitness, health, fatherhood, faith. All these things that are important to you is the same way. You're the CEO of your life. So just get better at all these things all the time.
And the last one that we're going to cover from that list is cutting out distractions. There's so many things that pull for our attention, that pull us away from where we want to go. It's almost like the visual of if you put crabs in a bucket and one crab starts to get out, there's a crab down there that's going to pull them back in. So we don't want to get pulled back in. We want to get rid of distractions. Talk a little bit about that as we wrap up today.
Yeah, this is an activity that any guy, I believe every guy out here should do. I do it once a month, and I set a calendar reminder, and I take about 5 or 6 minutes, and I pray, say, search me, God, and I say, what's one thing in my life that's impeding me from becoming the man that I need to be? What's one thing that's distracting me? There's been seasons in my life, I hate to say this, man, but it was golf. I was pretty addicted to golf for a while, and I'm like, if I want to be a world-class dad and a husband and fit and financially free, I can't go golfing 2 or 3 times a week. I can't.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I don't golf very often. Maybe a round or 2 a year.
That's where I'm at now.
But this past summer, I got like 3 rounds in, and I'm like, I love this.
So fun.
But I can't do it because again, I can't. My wife works, I work.
Yep.
I can't tell her on a Saturday, oh, hey, I'm going to be gone for 5 or 6 hours. Deal with the kids, and I'll see you after the round. I can't do that to her. But yeah, no.
What I'm trying to do is brainwash my sons into playing golf, so then it can be a bonding thing. My daughter didn't take to it, but I'm trying to get my sons.
I said they don't have to be great at golf. They just got to be good enough to play with me.
Exactly. That's all I want too, man. That's all I want. But yeah, I think that question of what's getting in your way, and I'll be real vulnerable here, man. 7, 8 years ago when I first started doing this, it was pornography. And I couldn't name porn stars. I didn't feel like I had a problem with it. But dude, this was a pattern for decades. That if my wife was traveling, if it had been a while, if I felt stressed, this is something I would go to occasionally.
Yeah.
And the first time I did this, what's getting in my way of being a great Christ follower? That was the first thing God put on my heart.
Amen.
I told a couple buddies about it. I sat my wife down that night and I said, this is it. I'll never go to look at this stuff again. It's poison. It was the point where I was even ashamed to listen to Christian music the next day. I felt like I wanted to hide from God. And so God is
sin will do that.
100%. Yeah, it separates us from God. And so I felt God just strip things away from me. Consuming the news has been another one. Games on my phone that just wasted time and distracted me. We haven't had TV in 6 years. And not that any of these things are bad or I'm judging anyone else that does it, but just search yourself. And I love golf more than anybody. I'm not, the theme of the podcast isn't you need to quit playing golf.
Right.
It's just ask God to search you and see what's getting in the way of the best version. Because I know every guy that closes his eyes for a minute, he can picture that on fire version. He comes out sometimes.
Yeah.
Dude, you're locked in, you're leading your family, you're that high energy guy, you're fit, you're happy, you're full of joy, your cup is flowing over. And I think the enemy of our day, and Satan's really good at this, is just putting little distractions in there.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to make us deny Christ or like it used to be, but he can distract us long enough to not be that best version. And so asking yourself that question continuously is a very, very big thing and helpful thing I do.
I always say if Satan can't convince you, right, to follow him, he'll distract you.
Yep.
And so that's something that we need to be extremely aware of in our lives.
Absolutely.
So before we wrap up today, what are 3 things guys can do right now to improve themselves?
Yeah, number one, and I agree with what you said earlier, is just set the alarms right after this. Put pause right now and set an alarm 7 days a week for 8:35, 9 o'clock at night when you're winding down. Plan your mission and just hit a few wins. These are non-negotiables that I'm going to hit 365 days a year. I'm going to wake up and I'm going to win at these things. Second thing is win the morning, win the day. Just decide. I'm not a morning person. You will be once you start getting up. So win the morning,
and
win
if you
the
shift
day.
your mindset to that.
Exactly. 100%. Start telling yourself that, right? Number three, I think just, again, go all in for Christ. I can't stress that enough, that you cannot lead your family if Jesus isn't leading you. And I think that's got to be the foundation we all build up from. If we want to save our home, save society, all the things that we're trying to do and that you're trying to do with this amazing platform, it's got to be the foundation. And so ask yourself that question. What does God need to remove from me so that I can be closer to him?
Well, thanks for coming in today. I mean, value-packed episode.
Bro, this is awesome.
Appreciate everything. Where can our guys find you at?
I'm on Twitter mostly, so at Ty Romper. Got 250,000 followers or so over there. God's really blessed me with an awesome platform. I'm off the cuff too. So most guys have got ghostwriters and people planning these content strategies. Bro, I'm like, what am I feeling like doing today? Maybe I'll turn it around and fire up a video. Or I never plan this stuff out. So I'm on Twitter every single day. That's my main platform. I'm on YouTube as well, like 65,000 subs or so over there.
Okay.
Putting out content, just at Tyler Todt, my name. And on LinkedIn and a couple other ones. But main reason, come give me a shout at Twitter. That's where
All right, guys, if you're not following Tyler yet on X, get on there and follow him. If you gain some value from our episode today, like, subscribe, share, get down in the comments and interact so that we can see how we've impacted families and how we can better our families as well. Because that's the purpose of this podcast, is to make better men, better husbands, better fathers, better leaders, better families. Till next time, keep growing, keep learning, and keep raising rebels. We're out.